If you're still using a basic credit card to book flights, you might be throwing away hundreds, and sometimes thousands, in free travel. This card alone scored me flights worth way more than the annual fee. And I didn't even try. I didn't change a thing about how I spend my money, specifically. Before you book another Air Canada flight, watch this. The TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite has been one of the most popular travel credit cards in Canada. And in 2025, I would say it's still one of the strongest contenders if you love to travel, especially with Air Canada. In this review, we'll break down what makes this card so appealing, which is the Aeroplan points, welcome bonuses, free checked bags, and travel insurance. We'll also see how it compares to the RBC WestJet World Elite MasterCard, as well as Scotiabank Passport Visa Infinite. And even talk about whether it's better to have this card if you live in Western Canada or Eastern Canada. And if you're considering signing up, there's also a cash bonus through Great Canadian Rebates, which I'll talk about in a minute. Okay, so let's talk about what drives this card, which is the Aeroplan point. You earn 1.5 points for every dollar you spend on gas, groceries, and Air Canada purchases. And you get 1 point per dollar on everything else. Aeroplan points are one of the most flexible, although complicated at times, rewards currencies in Canada. Because you can use them with Air Canada, but you can also use them with over 40 Star Alliance partners, including United, Lufthansa, and Singapore Airlines. And unlike fixed value programs like WestJet's, which some people love, the value of Aeroplan points depends on how you use them. So there is a lot more work to it. Generally, you'll get 1.5 to 2 cents per point on economy tickets, and sometimes 3 cents or even more when redeeming for business class. So that's pretty good. For example, a round-trip flight from Toronto to Vancouver that costs, let's say, $600 cash might only be 25,000 Aeroplan points plus taxes. That's about 2.4 cents per point, which is an absolutely amazing value. TD is also known for generous welcome bonuses, and the current offer as of recording this video, I would say is pretty good too. You can earn up to 50,000 Aeroplan points, usually split between the initial bonus and a certain spending bonus after a couple months of using the card. But look, that's easily enough for a round-trip flight almost anywhere in North America, or even a one-way trip to Europe if you book smartly. The annual fee for this card is $139 a year, but TD often includes the first-year fee rebate, and even if you don't, there is usually another way to offset it. Usually there is a $50 to $100 cash rebate when applying through Great Canadian Rebates. I'll leave a link down below if you want to grab that. The deal comes and goes, but you can often get a little something to offset that first-year fee. And, it's a nice way to reduce your upfront cost while still getting the full welcome bonus that TD offers. And anyways, I also made a video talking about GCR more in depth that you can check out. I'll leave the link in the description below. Now let's talk about the everyday benefits. This card comes with perks that make flying Air Canada a little bit smoother. The first one is free first checked bag, similar to the WestJet MasterCard. For you and up to 8 companions on the same reservation, each one gets free checked bag on Air Canada flights. So that's roughly $70 in savings per person on a round trip, which, if there are 2 of you, covers the yearly card fee. Second, there is priority boarding and preferred pricing. Cardholders get access to preferred pricing, meaning flights sometimes cost fewer points when you book through Aeroplan. You will also board earlier, which is handy on very busy flights. Lastly, I would say strong travel insurance. The card offers a very solid insurance, which includes up to $2 million in emergency medical coverage, trip cancellation and interruption, flight delay, lost baggage, and even auto rental insurance. So that's pretty good, I would say. If you travel more than a couple times a year, that's a peace of mind you would appreciate, especially for $140 a year. But let's talk about your everyday earnings and redemptions. Even if you're not a frequent flyer, this card earns points fast on everyday spendings like gas and groceries. And redemption flexibility is where Aeroplan actually shines. Because, look, you can redeem points for flights, obviously, but you can also mix points and cash if you're short on points, as well as use them for upgrades, hotel stays, and car rentals. Plus, Aeroplan points never expire as long as you have any activity once every 18 months. So as long as you keep using this card, you're gonna keep them alive. Anyways, let's compare it with the other 2 cards I mentioned earlier in the video. So how does TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite stack up against the competition? RBC WestJet World Elite MasterCard is all about simplicity and direct cash value. You earn very fixed value WestJet points, get a companion voucher, and your first checked bag is free. It's pretty great if you mainly fly WestJet, especially if you live in Western Canada, where WestJet's routes are much stronger. But if you live in Eastern Canada, for example, Air Canada and Aeroplan typically offer better value as a whole, with more flight options, more international routes, this kind of stuff. And this is where TD Aeroplan card wins when comparing the two. Now let's talk about the other one, Scotiabank Passport Visa Infinite. It's what I would call an all-rounder. It offers no foreign transaction fees, 6 lounge visits per year, and flexible Scene Plus points that can be redeemed for travel as well as groceries. It's a great choice if you fly multiple airlines and don't want to stay fixated on Air Canada or WestJet or travel internationally often. The difference here is TD Aeroplan card is better for Air Canada loyalists. So if you'll get much better redemption rates and access to more routes worldwide through Star Alliance. So that's something for you to decide. So which card is better? I would say if you live in Western Canada, so Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, or any smaller towns, you're probably flying WestJet a lot more often, and the RBC WestJet World Elite MasterCard might make a lot more sense for you. But if you're in Eastern Canada or Maritimes, Air Canada dominates most routes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Both domestic and international. So the TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite gives you a lot more flexibility, as well as better coverage and higher potential value for your points. But look, even for Western travelers, if you ever fly long haul to Europe or Asia, like I very often do, Airplan Star Alliance network is absolutely unbeatable. And that's where this card pulls way ahead in terms of value. Anyways, let's take an example. So let's say you spend $2,000 a month on gas and groceries, which is pretty hefty, but let's just, for the math's sake, that's 3,000 points per month, or 36,000 points a year. If you add the welcome bonus of 50,000 points, and you have 86,000 points, enough for 2 round trips within North America or 1 trip to Europe. Go ahead and add a free bag benefit, which is $70 per trip, and the insurance coverage, and I would say this card pays for itself many times over if you fly Air Canada once or twice a year. So, in my opinion, this card is very much worth it for frequent travelers and Air Canada flyers. Airplan's flexibility and global reach sets it apart. The points are valuable and the welcome bonus is pretty good, and the built-in Air Canada perks make travel a lot smoother, especially on long flights, trust me. If you're someone who flies mostly WestJet within Canada, I would say don't worry about it. You'll get a lot more direct cash value from the WestJet card. But again, for anyone looking beyond Canada, especially for US, Europe, or Asia flights, long-haul flights, Airplan offers far more options and better potential value per point. So do with that as you will. Anyways, to summarize, the TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite remains a top-tier travel card in Canada, not just for the rewards, but for the entire travel experience. You earn valuable points on your everyday spendings, save on baggage fees, and enjoy comprehensive insurance coverage whenever you fly. And don't forget, if you're thinking about applying, you can get a cash bonus through Great Canadian Rebates. Link in the description if you want to grab that before you apply. And as always, this isn't financial advice, just sharing what's worked for me and what I think makes sense for Canadian travelers right now. Always check the terms and conditions yourself. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing. It tells YouTube that my content is at least somewhat watchable, which I'll take as a huge win. Drop a like, let me know in the comments if you've used the TD Aeroplan card before or if you're Team WestJet instead, and check the description for my Great Canadian Rebates link, as well as other card reviews, all on this channel, including the WestJet World Elite MasterCard and Scotiabank Passport Visa Infinite. Thank you for watching, safe travels, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.